Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Thank you for joining me on today's podcast. I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Substack, and TikTok. How's everyone doing? I'll try my hardest not to get banned today, right? I'll try my hardest not to get restricted. Um, Yesterday, they really didn't like the fact that I was posting about uh, the fight where Trump attended. They got really offended. They really got offended and flagged my account. But I appreciate you all for joining me. My name is Celso Garcia, live from New York City. Welcome to my broadcast. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram, and Substack. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to support the program or hit the follow button, whatever the channel allows, right? Hit the button that you think will work for you. Hit the like button and also feel free to comment. Whatever channel you're on, feel free to comment. Let's get this algorithm going. Let's get this broadcast going. I appreciate you all for even joining me tonight. Every single one of you is important. Every single one of the viewers is very important in my book. Every single one of you is important. And there's so much going on. The world is on fire. The economy is crappy. Um, except if you're rich. The ultra rich are right now enjoying the most amount of money they've had in a long time, right? Even more money than they ever had in the last 50 years, right? Because they know what you know, what I know, that the system is not set up for regular people like me and you, right? It's not set up for us to win. It's like a casino, right? It's like a casino that uh, when you're set up to lose, and no matter how much you bet, you end up losing, right? It's sort of like the lottery. What are the chances of you winning the lotto, right? You have higher chances of getting hit by lightning than you do of winning the lotto. But people believe in it. They invest their money in it. They believe that one day they'll be lucky. So that's how life is. Life is like a big lotto, right? Like a big lotto. Um, you invest in it, you think you're gonna win, and you just keep losing, and you keep thinking, "What am I doing wrong?" Right? What am I doing wrong? You know what you're doing wrong? You're not doing whatever is necessary to move ahead. But some of us have a conscience. Some of us had a way of thinking that we don't just want to abandon other people, right? We don't just want to abandon other people. We don't want to just be selfish and just think about ourselves. We want to have a conscience, a clear conscience. We want to feel that we are part of something bigger, right? That we could contribute to society and that we want to be good people. But not everyone has the same mentality. Not everyone wants to be a good person or or speak well about each other. And so this is the case with the tweet that happened yesterday that caught everyone not by surprise, but people were shocked that Trump would stoop to the level that he stooped to, right? That he will go low, lower than he has gone in a long time, right? He went lower than he has gone in a long time, and he started to throw jabs and punches at Pope Leo, right? And as a practicing Catholic, I mean, a convert to Catholicism, it's highly offensive, and he could say whatever he wants to say to justify the things that he said, but the things that he said were not pleasant and were not very well received by a lot of people, right? They were not very well received by a lot of people because he just pretty much lambasted and insulted a whole group of people, right? A whole group of people's beliefs, right? Um, he insulted Muslims, he insulted Christians, he insulted every religion by not respecting other people's religion and feeling that he could just lambast people's religion as if people's religion is not important, right? And for a reason, in America, they put in the U.S. Constitution, they put the First Amendment to protect freedom of speech, to protect freedom of, of, of assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of the government controlling and dictating what people should believe, right? That's the whole reason why it's there. So, a lot of people agree that Donald Trump sunk to a new low. He just did something that most people did not think he would do of insulting the whole um, Catholic Church and all the people that believe in the Pope and also believe in Jesus, right? So it wasn't just the Pope; it was just him being insulting to all religions, right? Some people think, oh, it was just he only insulted Catholics. No, um, there was a lot of people, evangelicals, and people of other types of Christianity that felt equally offended by his behavior. So, I mean, how could he justify it? And how can he justify his behavior? How can he justify his behavior? He can't, right? He can't justify any of his behavior. So, unless like you're living on a rock, that's the only way you could say, you know what, you made a mistake. And this time around, he came around and said, full throated, that he was the one that wrote it and he's the one that tweeted it. Usually, he will blame a staffer, he will blame somebody else for what he said. So this time around, he actually went ahead and took full credit for it. Right? He took full credit for his work, and he took full credit for his comment. Right? He didn't. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't embarrassed for his comment. He right? He's not. He wasn't embarrassed. He's unabashed, right? And so they had roll con and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I want you to understand the philosophy here, the idea here is that Donald Trump does not care um, what anyone thinks at this point. He's not trying to be politically correct. At this point, he's frustrated and he's lashing out at everyone and anyone that criticizing him, right? He's willing to take on anyone that is criticizing him. Let's listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene on CNN saying what she had.
That the president thought he was depicting himself as a doctor, not Jesus, in that post.
No, absolutely not. I thought that was blasphemy. As a Christian, I was very offended. And a doctor, President Trump is not a doctor. And that picture had him in a robe, as Jesus is often portrayed, with light coming out of his hands.
I have to ask you if you believe that the president thought he was depicting himself as a doctor, not Jesus, in that post.
No, absolutely not. I thought that was blasphemy. As a Christian, I was very offended. And a doctor, President Trump.
And so these are the normal people that are attacking Donald Trump, right? These are the normal people that are attacking Donald Trump. So I'm not surprised, right? I'm not surprised at what we see, right? I'm not surprised because these are the people that normally attack Donald Trump anyway, right? These are the people that normally attack Donald Trump. So how about we see people that normally don't attack him, that are telling him, "What are you doing?" Right? What are you doing? Right? That's when he has concern, and he ended up deleting it. Right? Right? He ended up deleting it. And so there's people on both sides of the spectrum. So I see somebody saying, hit the follow button, hit the like button, share the live to other people. Um, I see somebody saying, I'm a sassy patriot girl. I'm a practicing Catholic, have been all my life, way over half a century, but I've had it with these damn popes getting political. I couldn't stand Pope Francis. We Catholics are taught to believe that the Pope is divinely chosen, that he is infallible. But I'm sorry, this one and the last one are hardly infallible. I had hopes for Leo, but I had also heard that he was a liberal early on. Already I can see he's no better than Francis. Please stop making Catholics feel like we have no to choose because I'll choose Jesus always. But you are not Jesus. I will not change my stance on my president. I will support him. However, the one thing I can control, how much money I put in the kitty every week. And right now, I'm not putting any money in that's intended for Rome until the Holy Father stays out of our politics. He gets what no one read sent from me. His job is to lead people to Christ like a shepherd, not to pontificate on POTUS. And I say to people like this, Jesus or so there's some people that are like definitely brainwashed, definitely believe that So and then Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's more than blasphemy. It's antichrist spirit, right? It's antichrist spirit. And so um and then so JD Vance weighed in, right? JD Vance gave his opinion about what the Pope should be saying, what the and JD Vance is a Catholic, and he weighed in, and obviously he's gonna stick to Trump's side. So let's hear what uh, JD Vance had to say.
On the wrong side of the president who is going after him and saying, that he's soft on crime and all of the things that the president said today?
Well, no, I'm not sure that he would have thought this would happen, but of course, a year ago, he didn't think he'd be Pope either. But in Peru, we lived in a time together during a time of terrorism and the authoritarian government. And violations of human rights. And he was in the main plaza of our city gathering signatures in defense of human rights in the plaza surrounded by government buildings. So this is not somebody that just woke up and decided, well, now is the time to speak about human rights. This is part of his identity as a religious, as an Augustinian, the defense of human dignity. And so I don't think it has anything to do with President Trump or whoever might occupy the office at any one time. The moral principles are the same. And as he stood in that plaza around in the city of Trujillo, surrounded by government buildings, filled with authoritarian government officials defending human rights, that's what he's doing now as Pope. So as I say, he's going to continue to speak up based on the moral principles of the church, because that's what he was elected to do. That's what
and that's what JD Vance said. JD Vance said the Vatican should stick to matters of morality. So a war has nothing to do with morality, where people are losing their lives and people are not able to live a life of dignity, human dignity. Is that not important? Is that not important that people are able to live lives of dignity and respect? That's always important in anyone's book, I hope. I hope that's important in anyone's book, whatever book you're reading. I hope that um, respect and morality are important, right? So obviously, JD Vance is going to take
all the Pope
Donald Trump's
supposed
side.
to do.
Yeah.
That's what popes do, right? Naturally, that's what popes do, right? That's what they do by nature, right? I don't know why it kicked me out, right? That's why what they do. And so the Pope said that Christians and Muslims can live together and be friends, right? He has always been said, right? He's always been saying, right? He's always been saying the same thing, right? And this is what Trump the press conference. So Trump kind of doubled down on everything he was saying, right? Trump doubled down and refused to cave um, on what he was saying, right?
A pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal, very. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's
Because they clash on immigration, and Pope Leo said that ICE was a rogue um, agency
a man that
that
doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. Now, I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel. And that's what I believe. And I am called to know what the church is called to do. We're not politicians. We're not making foreign policy, as he calls it, with the same perspective that he might understand it. But I do believe that the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers, is a message that the world needs to hear too.
We don't like a.
So he cited the Beatitudes, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who, follow these rules, right? Because they asked Jesus, how could I get into heaven? And Jesus answered, these are the rules, and if you follow this, you'll be able to get into heaven. So Matthew 5, right, which is the Beatitudes, the olive on the mount, where the where Jesus went to pray in the mountain, and so what did Leo say? Pope Leo made it clear that he's not trying to tell Trump how to do foreign affairs, but he has an obligation to be a peacemaker and to have liberty, to have people that are being killed or being unalived. He has the obligation to call it out and speak out and say, hey, this is total chaos. This is total chaos. You're causing economic uncertainty to a lot of people. You're causing severe food shortages. You're causing severe energy shortages, and the world is hurting as a result of one person, one human being um, speaking the way he's speaking, right? So, and you would think after the backlash, after everything that happened, right? You would think that Donald Trump would actually humble himself and say, hey, I was defeated. I apologize. Um, I deleted the post. I apologize. Let me call Pope. Let me call Pope Leo and apologize to him for insulting him. And Pope Leo said he's not scared. That he's not gonna back down. He's not scared, and he handled it amicably, right? But now Trump goes back and does this.
Personal. Pope Leo has made clear his opposition to the president's war in Iran, urging Americans to ask their leaders for peace and describing the president's. Donald Trump and Pope Leo, two of the most influential people on the planet, each with the ability to shape history with what they say, now saying quite a lot about each other, and it's getting personal. Pope Leo has made clear his opposition to the president's war in Iran, urging Americans to ask their leaders for peace and describing the president's recent threat to wipe out Iranian civilization as truly unacceptable. Now, the president has commented back, saying the Pope should, quote, get his act together and stop catering to the radical left. He also posted this image of himself in the likeness of Jesus Christ before deleting it without apology. And the feud continued today, and it grew with the Pope beginning a 10-day tour of Africa, saying, quote, I have no fear of the Trump administration. Now, the president started posting about the Pope shortly after Norah O'Donnell's 60 Minutes report on the subject last night. And Norah, you join me now. I don't think that was a coincidence. And you just got off the phone with the president. What did he have to say?
And the president confirmed he was watching our 60-minute report. The president in our conversation is doubling down on his condemnation of Pope Leo, saying he's wrong on the issues, should not be getting into politics, and he has no plans to call the Holy Father. Now, as for Pope Leo, he had his own message for the president today.
I have no fear neither of the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel.
Aboard the papal plane today, Pope Leo refused to back down.
Yeah, so Pope Leo refused to back down, and he's sticking to his guns. And the president is also not backing down and saying that he's listening to the left and he's catering to the left. And in other words, the Pope is woke, and the Pope should stick to his lane and mind his business, right? And you think Trump could win against Pope Leo, who has more followers, more, moral authority?
Following President Trump's unprecedented.
That's what it's going to come down to. Who has more of a moral authority? Who has the ability to tell people what they believe, right? I don't think the president would back down, but I also believe that this Pope will not back down either, right? This Pope would not back down. Hit the like button, everyone. Hit the like button. Let's get these likes up. Hit the like button. Right? Hit the like button. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me. Hit the like button. Hit the like button and let's talk, right? Let's talk about it. Definitely let's talk about it. Very important that we talk about the issues that are happening today in America and across America. Let's keep listening to this report.
And it insults.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him.
But that's exactly what he's done. In a lengthy post on Truth Social Sunday night, President Trump called the Pope weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. That post came after the president watched our 60 Minutes interview with three influential American cardinals who echoed Pope Leo's recent criticisms of the president's war with Iran and the policy of mass deportation. Is this a just war?
No. Under Catholic teaching, this is not a just war. Catholic faith teaches us there are certain prerequisites for a just war. You can't go for a variety of different aims. You have to have a focus aim, which is to restore justice and restore peace. That's it.
Tensions between the White House and the Vatican have been mounting for months.
This was discussed during the campaign. It was widely discussed.
And yet President Trump won the Catholic vote over Kamala Harris handily, 55 to 43%. He promised to secure the border. He talked about deportation, and a majority of Catholics voted for the policy.
I would like to know what Catholics feel about this indiscriminate mass deportation. I think that it's very clear the American people are saying we really didn't vote for this.
After widespread backlash, including from Christian conservatives, the president today refused to apologize to Pope Leo.
Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran.
And Tony, you mentioned that photo that.
And it wasn't just that; it was also his stance on immigration, right? Dispatching immigration agents to the streets, separating families, and the Catholic Church has a large Latino population and a large immigrant population that also practices at home. We forget that Catholics, there are more than almost 2 billion Catholics in the world. In the United States, there's a lot of Catholics, many millions and millions of Catholics across the country. And so Trump has to tread lightly because some of the people are in his base, right? And it's easy for him to offend not only Catholics, but evangelicals, Protestants that he might be offending, right?
President Trump posted showing himself as a Jesus-like figure. Well, the president told me just moments ago he was surprised by the.
And let's look at that Jesus figure, right?
Jesus-like figure. Well, the president told me just moments ago he was surprised by the outrage that it caused.
He shouldn't be surprised because he should know that for Catholics or for any Christians, it's sacrilegious, it's blasphemy to compare yourself to be like God or to be above God or to be, more powerful than God and to be exactly Jesus. We're all in the image of God, right? But we don't have the power of Jesus or the power that he has, right? And so it was kind of insulting. A lot of people felt insulted by this. As a practicing Catholic, a convert for a long time, for more than 20 years, it's never before been seen a politician standing up and speaking out against the Catholic Church, against Christianity, or even getting involved in politics, right? Of the church, or getting involved in trying to tell people what religion they should follow, or telling people going into the weeds with a pope, right? And clearly, Donald Trump started, right? He started calling the pope by name, and the pope never mentioned him by name. But what happens is that it's possible that Donald Trump's conscience might not be that clean, right? He might not be what he thinks about people, right? He doesn't think that well about people, and he doesn't treat people with respect and with love and that dignity that we're supposed to treat others. That's the problem. There should be more respect. There should be more love, right? There should be more love, and we should treat our neighbors with decency, because that's what we do as human beings. Everyone hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. Let's get these numbers up. I know we could do it. And if you want to support the channel, right, you can, that's the Cash App, $ Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor. If you want to support the channel, $5, $10 will go a long way to support the channel, right? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. Let's keep talking about Trump. And the thing is that even the Democrats have been seen as soft on fighting back against Donald Trump.
And thought he was being depicted as a doctor by a, quote, very beautiful, talented artist. The image appears to be AI generated. Now, even members of the Christian right who typically support the president were offended, calling it, quote, inappropriate and blasphemous. One of the president's closest supporters said, quote, God shall not be mocked. But it's clear the president heard the message because he took that picture down without apology.
Without apology, very rare for the president to backtrack in any way. And so that's a clear example of that. Now let's go back to Pope Leo, first American Pope. Is there any indication that he will come here to America to make his case?
I asked President Trump that specifically, and he said it's up to him. But look, there is a rift in their relationship. If Pope Leo were to ever come to the United States, he would have to meet the head of the state, President Trump. As of today, that relationship is frayed.
Norah O'Donnell, extraordinary reporting, really.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here.
This is my thing, right? This is my thing. Do you realize the Pope is American? So the
with
Pope,
Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant.
The Pope does not need to ask for permission to come back here, right? He's an American citizen. So do people realize this? That he doesn't have to ask to come back here? I hope everyone realizes that. And if you agree and think that it's right what they're saying, it doesn't make sense. Why are they covering for him? Why are they covering for President Trump or Vance? So he doesn't necessarily have to do things the way people want him to do things, right? So let's listen to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, you would think he's a Catholic. You would think that he would not support Trump, and he would not grant this type of interview. He granted the interview, and he didn't say the smartest thing, right? This might get Catholics even more upset, considering that J.D. Vance is a Catholic and he's a convert to Catholicism. Let's hear what he has to say.
Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Just wondering, as a Catholic, how you consider this Truth Social post and then the post of the picture. Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. Pope Leo has expressed problems with the war in Iran, says that we should be peacemakers, been very vocal. The president took to Truth Social saying Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be Pope, was only put there because of the church, because he was an American. They thought he would be good, best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Just wondering, as a Catholic, how you consider this Truth Social post and then the post of the picture, which a lot of people took as the president.
I mean, the Pope wouldn't be the Pope if it wasn't for the president. Like, isn't this like exaggeration? Isn't this um, kind of mockery and saying that the Pope did not earn his title? And so Donald Trump made the Pope. He made Pope Leo. And if it wasn't for the President Trump, Pope Leo wouldn't be there. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. It's like saying if the Pope said the opposite, if it wasn't for me, Trump wouldn't be president. Trump would be all over him. He'll be like, what? What do you mean? You never campaigned for me. You never endorsed me. You never supported me. So how is that possible? Right? I don't understand the stretch. It doesn't make sense. So let's keep listening.
Posting a picture of himself as Jesus. He later said that he posted it thinking as a doctor saving people.
I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one.
But it really caused a kerfuffle, Mr. Vice President. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, even everyone is toting the line and is scared to speak the truth because you know how temperamental Donald Trump gets. If there's something he doesn't like, he'll make sure that he tries to get the person canceled or he makes a phone call to try to get the person fired. And unfortunately, the corporations and the news agencies are listening to Donald Trump because they gain politically, economically from supporting him. Not necessarily because they support him, because they know that they're going to make money off of that support. Let's keep listening.
What you make of all of this, and whether it's what you think of this back and forth with the church?
Well, first of all, Brett, I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people weren't understanding his humor in that case. I think the president of the United States likes to mix it up on social media, and I actually think that's one of the good things about this president is that he's not filtered. He doesn't send everything through a communication professional. He actually reaches out directly to the people. You know, when it comes to the disagreements with the Vatican, and look, we're going to have disagreements, Brett, from time to time. I think it's a good thing, actually, that the Pope is advocating for the things that he cares about. But we're always going to have disagreements on matters of public policy, or I should say, sometimes we're going to have disagreements on matters of public policy. The Pope has been critical of our immigration policy, but ultimately the immigration policy of the United States is set by Donald Trump. The Pope is going to have disagreements on other issues. We can respect the Pope. We certainly have a good relationship with the Vatican. But
the immigration policy is set by Congress. Congress is the one that sets the laws, passes the laws, and unfortunately, they've given up a lot of their power.
We're also going to disagree on substantive questions from time to time. I think that's a totally reasonable thing. It isn't particularly newsworthy.
Do you think that when the president says it's hurting him very badly, catering to the radical left, it's hurting the Catholic Church? Do you agree with the president there?
Well, look, I think the president has the prerogative to set American foreign policy. He's got the prerogative to set American immigration policy. He has to look out for the interests of the United States of America. And that inevitably means that when the Vatican comments on issues of public policy, sometimes there's going to be agreement, of course, and sometimes there's going to be disagreement. I think that's a reasonable thing, Brett. Again, I don't think that it's particularly newsworthy, but I certainly think that in some cases, it would be best for the Vatican to stick to matters of morality, to stick to matters.
Oh, man. It's not newsworthy that the president is tweeting about
what's going on in the Catholic Church, and let the president of the United States stick to dictating American public policy. But when they're in conflict, they're in conflict. I don't worry about it too much, Brett. I think it's a natural thing. I'm sure it'll happen in the future, and it's not that big of a deal that it happened in the past.
Last thing, should the American people be ready for more?
And so they don't want to hear that, right? right? They never want to hear that. How dare you say that? How dare you say that? How dare you say that? How dare you say that, people? How dare you speak about the president like that? That's their argument. Their argument is that the president is untouchable and no one should be criticizing him. And they're willing to betray their own religious convictions. They're willing to betray their own church because, and so Trump goes and he's listening to, he holds a press conference and he's unapologetic. And it's like, it's painful to watch press conferences by Donald Trump, right? At this point. I mean, it's always been painful to me to watch his scripted press conferences. In case you didn't see it, she had DoorDash delivered to her front door of the White House. This was the most bizarre press conference I've seen. He's really trying to change the topic of Iran, really trying to change the topic to other stuff. No tax on tips, trans athletes. He really doesn't want to talk about the topics that are relevant. He does not want to talk about any of the topics that are relevant. He wants to stray away from the main topics that people want to hear him talk about, right? He doesn't want to talk about it. And so that's a problem, right? That's a problem because he forgets that um, he forgets that he served those the American people, right? Right? People keep forgetting. And then Alex Jones posted, this is a theme from the White House, from Hegseth and his spiritual advisor, that Trump is Jesus. Trump deletes his Truth Social post with an AI image portraying himself as Jesus after conservative Christian strongly criticized the president. Right? This is not a Christian spirit. He needs to be clear. There's only one king. That's King Jesus. He's told he's the Lord and Savior, right? So I don't really like to show. I don't, because he's a. The thing about Alex Jones that I disagree with is his white supremacist point of views. You know what I mean? I'm a BIPOC, I'm a Latino man. I don't believe his views.
Well, definitely this is let's just say, not a Christian spirit that we see coming into this. Now, listen,
His own people are criticizing him, or former supporters.
Listen, I know some of the stuff they post on Truth Social is turned out, a lot of it's not Trump, okay? I'm not giving him an out. He needs to be clear and say there's only one king, that's King Jesus. He's the Lord and Savior. And explain, we have a lot of fun on Truth Social. He showed himself with the Pope and all that stuff. And I get Trump's jokes. Trump came out today and said he may rename the Strait of Hormuz the Trump Strait, okay? But then, again, with all this background, we can't sit here and accept this. So people are really pissed. And I'll say this, whoever's pushing this narrative, who's come up with this messaging, knows this will turn people off to Trump, okay? Because I don't think Trump came up with this theme, and I've seen at least 10 times last month that he's Jesus out of the White House. I mean, this is crazy. And I told you about the
You think this is crazy?
escalation ladder. That Trump goes in, the Littles don't fall, they close the strait, he tries to go free it with the blockade, that actually keeps it closed, and then inflation explodes and it kills the recovery plan, which the globalists want, which is now happening. That is the facts. No one can defend him. No one can defend whoever is saying he's Jesus. And that's what this is, so don't deny it. Don't try to gaslight. Trump needs to clarify this right now. And we need to get out of this war and de-escalate right now. They admit that it was Netanyahu calling in, killing the negotiation with Kushner, and killing the peace deal. This is insane.
And he doesn't care. Even though it's insane, he just refused to apologize. He took it down. That's it. That's all he's willing to do. Right? All he's willing to do is take it down, but he's not willing to apologize, right? He's not. He's like, all right, it happened. I don't care. And I see a lot of people condemning him. Right? And this was the interview by 60 Minutes that got Donald Trump pissed off. Let me play the interview a little bit. Hit the follow, hit the subscribe button, everyone. So, what do you think, everyone? What do you think, everyone? What do you think about all this? What do you think about his comments? He doesn't care? It seems like he doesn't care. It seems as if it doesn't make no difference to him, right? It makes no difference to him. He's not apologizing. He's not backing down. And I don't think the bishops are backing down either. Right? I don't think the bishops are backing down either. Right? Let's watch it again.
Is this a just war?
This is what Trump was watching that got him so pissed off. And that's when he started lashing out at Pope Francis once he heard this interview on 60 Minutes. Remember, he watches a lot of TV, Trump.
No. Under Catholic teaching, this is not a just war. Catholic faith teaches us there are certain prerequisites for a just war. You can't go for a variety of different aims. You have to have a focused aim, which is to restore justice and restore peace. That's it.
Iran has been the chief exporter of terror. Is there no scenario in which preventing that can be a just war?
It's an abominable regime, and it should be removed. But this is a war of choice that we went to, and I think it's embedded in a wider moment in the United States that's worrying, which is this. We're seeing before us the possibility of war after war after war.
President Trump has argued that military action against Iran was justified in order to destroy its nuclear and ballistic missile programs, among other reasons.
He's justifying it. His way. The normal, his way or the highway, right? And Bishop Barron says that I think Trump owes the Pope an apology. And so this is Candace Owens' take. She did an epic takedown on him. Not that I'm quoting her, but she's going hard on him. Right? She's not backing down. She said she's not backing.
Under demonic influence. You see that in the prayers. And, I have to say respectfully, it was definitely something. He is truly, and I do not say this to be extra, I do not say this to be performative, he is truly under demonic influence. You see that in the prayers. And, I have to say respectfully, it was definitely something which I am hopeful, and please forgive me if I'm out of line here, but I'm hopeful that more cardinals, more princes of the church will speak out against the role that some of our bishops have had in this. I think some of them have gone too political. Bishop Barron standing beside Paula White during that prayer, and his excuse is, well, I was there. Well, then you should make a statement after and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. I didn't mean to be, I didn't know what she was going to say when she prayed, but what she said was wrong and it was blasphemous. And no, Trump, this is Easter and Trump has nothing to do. He is nothing like Jesus Christ. In fact, Trump is not even a Christian. And so there is a role here that I think the Catholic Church needs to step in a really big way. I think there are too many TV bishops, too many TV pastors, too many people that have turned what it means to be a Christian into reality TV. Frankly, you can wear the clerical robes and be presenting yourself as something totally different. There needs to be and there has been thus far, a very severe reaction, just all across the faith. Everybody, every Catholic bishop, every Catholic cardinal, but Catholics in general, we can't support Trump. You cannot support Trump in this moment.
Or in any moment. I see that Trump has been out of control for a very long time, even before he was elected. I believe that I don't understand how Catholics have supported him or even voted for him, knowing that he's a billionaire. We're supposed to stand for the poor, for the marginalized, for the weak in society, for the disabled, for the widow, for the mother, the single mother. We're supposed to stand up for family and keeping families together. We're supposed to stand for life. We're not supposed to stand for war, right? As Catholics. Those are the obligations that we have. And I don't understand how any Catholics have even supported him originally or voted for him with a clear conscience, knowing that he's been a disaster, right? Knowing that he's been a disaster for a very long time, right? To me, he's been a disaster, right? To me, he's been a disaster. So, according to, let me see, let me look up. I wanted to play Hakeem Jeffries' comments, right? So, Candace Owens says he's under demonic possession, right? And so, Hakeem Jeffries had such a weak statement. He had such a weak statement. I was thinking he was going to come out with some bombshell, something that was going to interest people. But he doesn't say, he didn't come out with a bombshell statement or bombshell words, right? So this is what Hakeem Jeffries has to say. And he came out with another video I saw, updated video on Facebook. I'll see if I can pull it up. So, I mean, the whole plan is we're gonna go after Trump. We're gonna go after the midterms. We're gonna gain power, and when we gain power, then we will challenge Trump. Right? That's the whole argument. That's what they're saying they're gonna do. So I don't understand or necessarily believe that this is the best approach. So some people don't like AOC, but this is what AOC had to say, right?
From all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and villains, is that I thought the mistake that I made, and I made this early on.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
From all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and villains, is that I thought that fascist takeover attempts were going to be architected by evil geniuses. And I was not expecting how unearned, nepotistic, mediocre, and just dumb so many of the people architecting this were going to be. And it works because of brute force. Like, you can do anything through brute force, but it's not sophisticated and it does not merit my intellectual respect. That's my thought of the day. The mistake that I made, and I made this early on. From all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and
her words are more sharp, right, than any of the other speakers or any of the other people, even of the Hakeem Jeffries. Her words are sharp towards Trump and JD Vance and all these people. Her words are definitely very sharp, very how can I say, right, very sharp compared to Hakeem Jeffries and his words. His words are not very very sharp, right? And so these are the words that AOC said about 30 minutes ago. So she was in Pennsylvania. AOC was in Pennsylvania today. And this is what she had to say. So you think this positive message will resonate with people? What do you think? You think the positive message that AOC is trying to, incorporate is going to resonate with people?
Our rights, our wages, our health care. What they are most afraid of is our solidarity. What they are most afraid of is us recognizing that our differences are not that different after all. And so I love places like Colorado because, I was in Glens Falls, upstate New York, a couple of weeks ago, and it's really lovely the magic that can happen in places like these. Because when we actually get into a room with one another, people can start to say, oh, we're not that different after all.
And that's what we're scared of? Solidarity?
Our rights, our wages, our health care, what they are most.
This was AOC talking. And this was Mike Lawler. And so this is what happened to Mike Lawler. And let's listen to Mike Lawler, Democrat, holding a town hall in his conservative country, county in Long Island. They weren't having it, right? People were not having it. And so this is what happened.
To Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler faced a frustrated crowd of
Republican,
constituents at his town hall last night here in New York. Lawler represents one of the most competitive congressional districts in the country. He won in a district that voted for Kamala Harris for president in 2024. Last night, the crowd was fired up as Lawler fielded questions about the war with Iran. He sparred with constituents. Here's the point where one person was escorted out.
The Republican Party and you are enabling him. You're all cowards and you're spineless.
Donald Trump won the election in 2016.
To Capitol Hill, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler.
And it was that was just one clip, right? One clip of many. Right? One clip of many. Right? He was repeatedly booed in his own town hall. And that's why Republicans are not holding town halls, right? So let's see some more clips of Republican Mike Lawler's town hall yesterday. People are pissed, right? People are pissed at these forever Trumpers. these MAGA loyalists. And there were some people that were really upset with him. Really upset with Mike Lawler. It's not looking good for Republicans, right? They might lose those seats. This is a seat that they picked up when Trump ran. And this is going to be a seat they're going to lose. This is definitely going to be a seat they're going to lose. It seems like they're going to lose this seat. As much as they try to hold on and right. Even Megyn Kelly, one of Trump's early supporters, so J.D. Vance thinks it's a good thing. And let's see Fox News point of view, right?
Truth Social last night, writing, Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible on foreign policy. Later that night, he elaborated on this.
It's time for Seen and Unseen, where we reveal the stories behind the headlines. For that, we turn to Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. All right, Raymond, the media running wild with the story that President Trump and the Pope are engaged in a war of words.
Well, there's a reason for all of this, Laura, which I'm going to get to in a
They're
moment.
not
President
engaged
Trump
in a
took to
war.
Truth Social last night, writing,
They are in a
Pope
war.
Leo is
Come on,
weak
people.
on crime and
They are in
terrible
a war.
on foreign policy. Later that night, he elaborated on this long social media post this way.
Why did you attack Pope Leo on Truth Social?
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo.
And today, Pope Leo clapped back.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loud against war. And I think someone has to stand up and say, there's a better way to do this.
Raymond, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, look, let's start with the president. This was a sloppy and frankly disrespectful attack on the Pope. I don't think he should have issued this kind of long ad hominem. He didn't get any points for doing this. There's nothing good that comes of it. So, he shouldn't have gone down this path. On the Pope's side, the Pope says he's not a politician. That's true. He shouldn't be.
So he's two-sided. I support the Pope. I support the president. They're both wrong. They should meet in the middle. They should agree with each other and just move on, right? So Fox News is two-siding it, right? They always love to two-side the topic. Two-side the topic, right?
But I understand in the president's reading of this, when you have a Pope saying, call your congressman, call your senator to get them to advocate for peace and oppose this war. When the Pope says, as he did on Easter Sunday, let those who have weapons lay them down, Laura, that sounds political, particularly when you've got Swiss guardsmen with arms protecting you.
And a wall.
And I don't remember the Pope saying that about China. So these are personal opinions. I think they're talking past each other, but this thing is way out of control.
Well, he withdrew that post, right? He deleted it, one of the posts that he put out.
No. He withdrew an image you'll see in a moment, but not that post.
Image.
He hasn't.
Yeah. So you think this has been kind of intentionally kind of created by the media?
Well, yeah. Last night on 60 Minutes,
It's
Nora
the media's
O'Donnell
fault.
featured 3 left-of-center cardinals. You'll remember Cardinal Supich, who tried to give Dick Durbin, a Catholic lifelong supporter of abortion, a Lifetime Achievement Award recently. Well, these 3 cardinals condemned ICE agents, the Iran war, and the Trump administration. So look, clearly the president was watching this. Nora O'Donnell has now even confirmed. She talked to the president. He was watching. You've heard of rope-a-doping? This is pope-a-doping. Nora O'Donnell seems to have known what she was doing, Laura.
This all kind of started after our 60 Minutes report last night
planned.
that included criticism not only from the Pope, but also these 3 influential cardinals. It appears that President Trump may have been watching that.
Yeah. Well, those were red cardinals there, Ray. For sure.
Well,
They were.
here's the big problem with this.
Right,
This
right.
comes on the eve of the midterms. This is clearly, it feels like a political whiff of something moving here. The Pope met with David Axelrod last week, and now you've got these 3 cardinals who I talked to a number of bishops today. These 3 cardinals represent absolutely nobody but themselves. Okay, so it feels like they were trying to provoke the president into a reaction, and he fell into the trap. And look, for a sense of how this is shaking out, the president of Iran, Laura, has weighed in, expressing support for Pope Leo and condemning Trump over this AI image generated of the Pope, or the president rather, as a Christ-like figure. The Iranian president said it's a desecration of Jesus, Laura. The image on its face is sacrilegious. I'm glad the president took this down, but this was much ado about nothing, and it all could have been avoided. Don't react to 60 Minutes and whatever they're portraying there. And the Pope should stick to doctrine and not personal opinion in politics.
It's not the first time I've said this, Raymond, but you don't have to swing at every pitch. There's a lot going on right now, and probably reacting to what Pope Leo is saying. The church has always been, not MAGA on immigration. They want more bodies in the seats. I guess their wall is good in Vatican City, but our wall isn't. They have a big wall.
Yeah, but look, the Pope is always going to come down on the side of peace, Laura. That's what a Pope should do. But when they get into policy prescriptions, that's specific, it's always in trouble. I think broad moral frameworks is what the Pope should be advocating, and he is.
All right, Raymond, thank you for that perspective. Very important tonight.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, he's unabashed and just doesn't, no shame in his game, like they say. No shame in his game, right? So we did Hakeem Jeffries, Lawler, Trump, the Pope, J.D. Vance. We just didn't do Zohran. All right, let me just do Zohran. And he had his 100 days, right? I'll close us out with this one. All right, so let me see. Oh, it's under the mayor's office. So let me play this clip to be the last one for the night. I appreciate you all. Every single one of you, I appreciate you all. So, some people feel conflicted about this, but he just spoke about who he was, right?
it a city of happy people and in making it a city of healthy children.
I'm leaving today.
Isn't it great that we're just living in a country where public problems are really the problem of all of the people?
I want to be a part of it.
Here, Fiorella LaGuardia took office with the goal of building a city that could belong to more than just a privileged few.
I work for the New York City Parks and Recreation.
I work for the fire department, and I'm a fireman.
I work for New York City Department of Transportation.
And I work for Media Collections.
It could belong to those who operate our subways and rake our parks.
For the Office of Technology and Innovation.
As a supply director for the mayor's office.
We build the signs. I work for 301.
Together, we will tell a new story of our city. New York belongs to all who live in it.
And if we succeed here, surely it can be done elsewhere.
And he said he's gonna rule like a democratic socialist. He's gonna do everything like a democratic socialist because he ran as a democratic socialist. And that kind of roused some people up, right? That he's admitting that he's a socialist, willing to not compromise on his ideas or his principles, right? So we need people with principles and morals to stand up to those people that are not 100% involved in the political system. Congratulations, Zohran. Congratulations, Hope. Leo, congratulations for standing up to the bully that is Donald Trump, right? To the bully that is Donald Trump, you said no to him. You did a good job by saying no to him. All right? You did a good job by saying no to him and standing up to him. Stand up to him. Don't be scared. Do the right thing for the American people. Everyone, have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Take care. And hit the like, subscribe, share button. Thank you so much, right? For the support. It's $ Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor. You want to support the Cash App. I appreciate you all. And I'm going to see you on the other side. Have a good night.